We're in the home straight for the French Open, and we're looking at the quarterfinals today for the men's and the women's from Roland Garros. And with me is the Betting Emporium's Nigel Seeley. Nigel, I haven't talked to you in a while. How's the French Open been going for you so far?
Well, it started off brilliant, Sully. I mean, we had a fantastic first week. Like all things in majors and Grand Slams, I find the first week, the first two rounds quite easy. And then as the tournament goes on, I think it's harder to find any value because everybody knows who the players are. Everyone knows how familiar they are. I mean, if you're an odds compiler and you're betting Rafael Nadal against Roger Federer and you've got it wrong with 40 games to go on and stats to go on, then you should be getting your P45. So the value for me is always in the first and second round. So we're doing all right. I mean, we've got a big outright position on Nadal, which he's done what I expected him to do. But there's still a few obstacles to overcome, including two of probably the greatest tennis players of all time in Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. So it's not going to be easy, but we are where we expected to be. And if Nadal wins, we should end up having a good tournament. If he doesn't, then I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the outright for the men's at the moment. Obviously, you guys backed Nadal at a bigger price than this, but not too much bigger, I'd suggest. 1.58 Nadal is currently, 4.1 is Novak Djokovic. Dominic Thiem, I've been really impressed with 11.5. The Fed Express at 21.0, 46.0. Zverev finally winning a couple of big games and cashing off at 61.0. So yeah, Nigel, you guys are obviously, I presume you got kind of close to evens on Nadal and plus maybe. Anything at the moment that you would be kind of looking to maybe kind of oppose him with?
I mean, what we said, we backed him at even money. We missed the 11 to 10, so we had to take the even money. But the point I made was that his route to the semi-final was such an easy route, and he's done exactly what he expected to. He's only dropped one set, winning so easy, whereas other opponents, Djokovic is breezing through as well. But Djokovic now runs into Zverev. Then he probably plays Team in the semi-final, which could be a 5.5-hour marathon match. I think Nadal will win the tournament, providing that he gets past Federer rather early. I mean, if Nadal is involved in a long five-setter tomorrow against Federer, then that means that obviously it's quite even, and the advantage that I thought we would have going into final levels itself out. But I think if Nadal wins that in relatively straightforward time, which I expect him to do, then I think we're on the winner, because I think the time on court that Djokovic is going to play in his semi-final, and obviously all the other players coming through. I mean, Federer come through a game against Wawrinka, which was a long game, and I think they will tell. And I think the point that we made about Nadal was a good one. He is the king of clay. His record here is phenomenal, and I think the route he gets through, that it's such an easy route, and he's rested is key, and that's why he's 158 compared to Djokovic. But if they played in a final, if you had Nadal coming through in a five-setter against Federer, and he played Djokovic, who could breeze past Team wherever he plays, if Kakanov can pull the underdog, or even if whatever he gets to that scenario, then the 4.1 could look a bit of value on Djokovic, because I do think he'll prevail. I do think he'll do that top half, and I think the final will be between Nadal and Djokovic in the final. But I think these semi-finals are the key to know how fit their bodies are and what state they are in going to the final. So my philosophy was that Nadal will have an easier semi-final, whereas if it's Team against Djokovic in that semi-final match, I think there could be a real long five-setter brawl, and that's advantage Nadal.
I was talking about obviously Federer and Nadal tomorrow morning's broadcast, but let's talk about the aforementioned Novak Djokovic today. He's playing Alexander Zverev. Current betting, not surprisingly, you've Djokovic here at 1.14. The handicap's probably going to be the most popular market here. Zverev is getting a 7-game start. You can back that at odds against 2.09, and the total is 33.5. Now, you've obviously kind of nailed your had to the mast with Djokovic probably in the final against Nadal here. But is there any angle for today's game against Zverev? Because we've talked about Zverev in the past, that this German phenom, we expect him at some stage to be the real deal, and it hasn't really happened. But he, getting to this stage is probably a big one for him right now, Nigel.
He's got a huge amount of talent. Obviously, I think he's the most talented, one of the players most talented not to win a Grand Slam. This is only his second quarter-final win a major in his career, which is quite incredible when you think about how good he is. But he wins all the other tournaments, the smaller tournaments. So has he got a question about his big game match, ability? This is probably the biggest game of his career. This is the time when he's really got to shine. The advantage he has, he's got a winning head-to-head record against Djokovic. He's played 5 times, he leads 3-2, which not many people would have expected. So he does prove problems for them. He beat him famously in the final at the O2 in the World Championships. But this is very different. Clay, in 5 sets in a Grand Slam is a very, very different experience. And you've got a guy who's the biggest battler up against him, who's like a machine. He'll just keep going and grinding and grinding and grinding. I don't think Zverev will win it because I think the big match temperament he has is like he's like a racehorse with a time-forward squiggle next to his name. You wouldn't want to back him in the big games against someone who's got the biggest mental ability probably in world sport, I believe, in Djokovic. So I think that's a big problem for him. But I do think he'll give him problems today. I really, really do. I think that 7 handicap is quite tempting. I think he can definitely take a set off him. If you look at all their matches they've ever played, they've all been straight sets wins, but they've never played over a 5-setter. So they've all been 2-0 either way. And I think that Zverev will come of age today. I think he'll put in I don't think he'll have enough to beat him over 5 sets, but I do think he'll come of age today. I think he'll put in a performance. So I'm looking at over the games here. I mean, yesterday the lines were 32.5, which I thought was probably too low. If I was pitching this game, I thought 34 would be a push, maybe 33.5, 34.5, but the odds on the over 33.5. So I'm looking at over the games. So that would be my play today, because I do think the fact he has a winning head-to-head record is something to take into account. Djokovic has had a real breeze coming through. This is his biggest test. And he played really well in his last sets, whereas the way he come through against Fognini, who had the crowd support behind him, lost the first set. But the problem with him, he's too inconsistent. He's too erratic. He can run off the set 6-3 and then lose the next set 6-love. And that's his big problem in big games. And his temperament goes slightly. And but I do think it'll be a long one. So I think the value for that today is over the games.
33.5 currently. Get back the over there, 1.93 match book. Let's talk about TM and Khachanov. Any opinions here? I said it previous. I'm kind of a fan of TM. I backed them a couple of days ago, minus 4.5 against Monfils. This seems to be kind of one that, you know, he should be able to kind of get through here. What are your thoughts here, Nigel?
Well, I mean, I had a big bet on Del Potro to beat Khachanov in the last round, and that didn't seem to work for me. And he's a player I've opposed a lot on clay. I mean, what he's doing this week, he's turned all the Swan book on the head with his performances, Khachanov. I mean, he's a hard-hitting, hard-courter. He's a big serving guy, and what he's doing on clay is incredible. The thing is here, which is in his favour, they played 3 times and he's won 3 times. They played twice already this season. They were in exhibition matches in Abu Dhabi, but he won them both. And I think that's a big advantage for Khachanov. But that cancels this out. They've never met on clay. And Team is probably the second best clay quarter, or probably third best clay quarter behind Djokovic and Nadal. I don't think he'll win it though, Sully, because, you know, to win the Grand Slam, he's got to beat Djokovic and he's got to beat Nadal. I mean, when you get sort of upsets in tennis, usually those two have gone early. It's very rare that somebody beats those two players to get to win a Grand Slam. So I don't think he'll win it. I think he's a future French Open champion, but he still lacks a bit. His temperament is a problem for me, and he's so erratic. I mean, he always involved in long matches. He can be 2 sets to love up, and then suddenly he's involved in a 5-setter really quickly. And I think that's his big problem for winning Grand Slams, his concentration over 5 sets. So again, I think this could possibly be one to play on the total games. Not as strong as the bet I've had there, but Khachanov is full of confidence. He's hitting the ball hard. He's got a 100% winning advantage against an opponent, which is such a mental advantage starting off the match, knowing that you've beaten an opponent every time you played. And Team will know that as well. So maybe over the games, but I think Dominic Thiem will come through. He's the better clay court player. And Khachanov has had some problems with his back early in the tournament. Now, he hasn't been tested since those back problems come. And if this goes into a 4th set or 5th set, you've got to worry about that. So I'm going to go for Dominic Thiem probably to win this 3-1.
Good stuff. 39 is the total there, and Khachanov is plus.
Well, that's probably too high, though. To be high, 39 is an awful lot of games to play on clay. I mean, usually on a clay court, you want to be playing 36, 37, because in clay courts, you do get 5-set games. You do get, but a lot of the sets are 1-6-3, 6-4, 6-2, rather than a tiebreak that you get on hard or you get on grass. So 39.5 is probably too much for me to get involved. But if I was looking for an interesting bet today and someone wanted to have a watch the game and have a little bit of interest, I'd have a small play on the Team to win 3-1.
Sounds good. No, Nige, we had plenty of success with the ladies, the Australian Open, the last time you were on. I would suggest you're a ladies' man, just to kind of make it a cliche, but I know you're not, obviously, Nige. Let's have a look at the outright betting here for the women's. Simona Halep at 2.25, Joanna Konta with a terrific win against Sloane Stephens at 4.2, Vondrousova at 6.2, her opponent in tomorrow's semi. Ashley Barty 7.6, Madison Keys 15.5, and Anisimova at 28.0. Nigel, what kind of position are you currently in for the ladies, the outright?
Not a very good one, so not a very good one. I played Kiki Burton's and she lasted 4 games and decided to pull out. I thought in the preview I said it was the most open women's tennis tournament I've seen for a long, long time. And early part of the week, a lot of shock results, a lot of seeded players going out. But the tournament favourite is in there and looking good and getting better and better as the tournament goes on in Halep. For years and years and years, Halep was somebody that everyone thought, well, she couldn't win a Grand Slam. But I thought once she won her first one, she will get the taste for it and go on and win many more. And this is her tournament. So she is a worthy favourite. She plays Anisimova today. And I think that's, this girl is going to be an unbelievable tennis player. She's 17 years of age and what she's doing on a tennis court is phenomenal. But the problem with it is, at the Australian Open, when she got to the last 16 and she played the biggest game of her career then against Petra Kvitova, she just didn't turn up. She was blown off the court, and now she's in a first major quarter-final against the defending champion and tournament favourite. Is the occasion going to get to her? And I think that could be that could happen. I think Halep could blow her away this afternoon. I really do. I've no doubt that she is going to be a future major winner. But this is probably, again, a little bit too early in her career, and I think Halep will show her experience and a better clay court, and I think that will be over in relatively short time, so I'm going to go for Halep to win 2-0 pretty easy there. On the outright market, the player that I've been absolutely really impressed with is Barty, Ashley Barty. I think she was never someone I thought would prevail on clay. A massive grass court player, hard court player, backed her for the Australian Open. I backed her for the US Open as well. And then she's come along in this Grand Slam and she's doing what I can't believe. She's hitting the ball as well as I've ever seen. She's running around the court with strength and brute force. And her against Halep will be a really interesting battle because they're 2 very similar styles. But Barty now is the angle for her is you've got to be backing her for Wimbledon, because I tweeted it the other day and I got cruelly shut down by a couple of people, but because I know his prices that weren't updated, but there's still 20-1 out there, and 25-1 if you shop around. And I think the play now for Barty is back her now for Wimbledon if you can get anything around about 20s, because if she does well here, gets to the final or even wins it, she could start single figure prices for Wimbledon because she's just amazing. But I think Halep is obviously the person to beat, rightly favourite. Konta has done exceptionally well. We'll talk a bit tomorrow about her semi-final, but I think she's someone who's still, I wouldn't trust on the big occasion, despite how well she's done. It's her first major semi-final. The serve does go a little bit. She gets into that habit of drop. She's so focused. She's dropping that. She's like her routine, and it does go. And when it goes horrifically wrong for her. And I wouldn't trust her. I think Halep is definitely the girl to beat. I think she probably will win it, but Barty, Halep's an interesting one. I think the winner of the tournament comes from that game.
Well, let's stay on Halep for a second. So she's obviously playing Anisimova today in the quarterfinal. Current betting, unsurprisingly, again, 1.2 Halep. You can back Anisimova at 5.8. So about the handicap here, this is quite interesting. 5.5 Anisimova is getting a start here, Nigel, 1.86. You can get back Halep minus 5.5 at 2.06. Now, the other one you looked at was Halep 2-0, and that's currently 1.62. Talk me into backing Halep here minus 5.5. It's not that big a number if you win in straight sets, Nigel.
Well, but she's women's tennis is so funny. I mean, the girls can easily lose a set 6-love, 6-1, and you don't know what the girls. If she loses the first set 6-4 in a tight set, her head could be gone to pieces in the second set, and she could obliterate. We've seen it so many times. I mean, if you look at Halep's records this tournament, and the last round she bought another young talent, 6-1, 6-love, and I was being told that that was a handicap bet. The round before she won 6-2, 6-1. So she's in form. She's playing really, really well. And I keep going on. I mean, we haven't really got enough form to go on Anisimova in the big matches. But what we have got in the big matches, we've seen her play at the Australian Open when she was in the big match, and she got beat 6-2, 6-1 against Kvitova. Now that is a big worry for me. That would be a big worry for me. That maybe now, at 17 years of age, what was I doing at 17? I just started work at the Racing Post, and I was I was still riding a chopper bike. So I mean, now you're in a Grand Slam quarter final. It's incredible. But I think the occasion may be a big one, and it's on Halep's turf. This is her thing. So I'd rather be taking Halep -5.5 than backing Anisimova +5.5, because there is that capability that she could get wiped out in the second set if she loses the first set. Obviously, if she won the first set, then she can go on and win it, and she'll be probably favourite to win it. But I think the angle for me would probably be Halep -5.5. But I would, even though it's 162, 163, I think I'd be more happier to take the 162, because if she won 6-4, 6-3, and I lost my money, I'd be absolutely heartbroken.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So sometimes, look, I mean, 1.62 now is still a very backable price. There's still a good few games to come this tournament. Let's have a look at your Wimbledon fancy. Ashley Barty against Madison Keys. Madison Keys 2.74. Barty here at 1.55 currently, and Barty is a 3.5 game favourite in the handicap, and the total there is 22. Very quickly, Nigel, any fancy here in this one?
Well, I've got a fancy Barty of what I've said, and they played twice before. They played once in the French Open in 2017, and Keys won it 6-3, 6-2. So that's. But I think Barty's a much better player now than she was then. She burst on the scene a few years back, went in the wilderness, and now she's back at the bank. She's not far away from winning a Grand Slam title. But these two really are markers for Wimbledon. These are two people ahead, top of my Wimbledon list. Madison Keys, big server, one of the biggest servers in women's game. And if she can get through a semi-final at the French Open, that's such good signs for her for Wimbledon, because the grass is her service. If I was going to have a bet on here, I'd probably play small and over the games, because I think they're both big servers. They both hit the ball hard. The first set could be very cagey. And I think obviously it's an obvious thing to say, but whoever wins the first set will go on and win it. But I think this could be tight. Unlike the other one where I think sets could be 6-2, 6-1, this could be settled on a tiebreak in the first set, and then the second net could be 6-4. But I think over the games is the way I would play here.
Okay, small fancy in the over there. Nigel, best bet of the day. I'm thinking it's the over in Zverev and Djokovic.
Yeah, that would be my best bet of the day. I think it's a working man's price, and I think the line at 33.5 is probably a smidgen too low. It's a Grand Slam quarterfinal. Zverev holds a winning head-to-head record against him. He's not going to fear Djokovic. He beat him at the World Tour Championships at the O2 in 2008 last year, and I think he gives him a chance. This is if he doesn't perform today, there'll be question marks about Zverev for the next couple of years. But a big game for him, and I think overs is the play.
Over 33.5, currently 1.93. And if you have not got a Matchbook account, sign up today for a £10 risk-free bet. So even if that loses, you get your money back. So it's not a bad deal. Nigel, I'll be talking to you again tomorrow morning and Saturday morning as we wrap up the French Open. Thank you, my friend.
Take care, so all the best, mate.
Cheers, guys. Best of luck with your French Open bets. It should be a good day of tennis again. Good luck.